We have breaking news as multiple reports from insiders have revealed that a Jacob Trouba move is imminent and it could be coming by way of trade or being waived. It seems like Chris Drury's roster shakeup is here. We're going to break it all down in this episode of Rangers Digest. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you who watch these videos are not actually subscribed to the channel. So if you want to do yourself a favor, it's free. Hit that subscribe button and you get to stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And that's right. Your eyes are not deceiving you. Your ears are not deceiving you. Jacob Trouba's time as a New York Ranger is over. He has played his last game as a New York Ranger, and we're going to break it all down here. And let's get right into it. It started this morning from Larry Brooks. Breaking news, the first shoe / skate to drop is that the Post has learned that Jacob Trouba will not be on the ice today for purposes of roster management. So Jacob Trouba will not be on the ice for morning skate, and he will not play against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That much we know. He will not play tonight, and expect Victor Mancini to be recalled. And this is backed up by multiple reports from multiple different insiders like Vince Mercogliano, Molly Walker, Chris Johnson of TSN, and SDPN has it as well. And per league source, Jacob Trouba will not be skating today for the New York Rangers for roster management purposes. We'll get into what I think that means in a second, because I don't actually think he's being traded. I think they're actually doing something pretty sneaky here, and we'll get into that. And it sounds like the ball is in the air, whether it be a trade or possible waiving. Victor Mancini has been recalled. So Victor Mancini seems like it's, he's taking his spot there, Jacob Trouba's spot. Again, I will reiterate that I do believe Jacob Trouba's time in New York is absolutely done at this point. I think he has played his last game as a New York Ranger. From Phil Kosher, and this is off of another report as well. Something to watch. Lots of rumblings regarding New York Rangers captain Jacob Trouba on waivers today. No confirmation yet, but obviously Larry Brooks just reported that he won't be on the ice and he won't be skating. This is from Phil Kosher. Makes sense. Waivers, if claimed, great. If not, Hartford. If he refuses to report, contract termination. If he reports, traded this summer. So this is the interesting thing about all of this right now. I actually believe that Jacob Trouba is not being traded. He is being waived, and that there is a team waiting for him to be waived to claim him off of waivers. I don't actually believe he's going to go down to Hartford, because I don't think he's going to report to Hartford. And I mean, there is a world where he does, because I do think he wants to stay in New York and close to New York. But I think that there is a team waiting in the weeds to claim this player off waivers. I think it's a handshake deal per se, like they had with Barclay Goodrow and the San Jose Sharks this summer. And now a lot of players weren't happy with how that went down, but at the same time, the Rangers, I've been saying it the last couple of videos, you got to do unpopular things to win. The Vegas Golden Knights do it all the time. Other franchises around the NHL do it all the time. Sometimes players don't like them, the franchise and the management, for doing it, but they win championships. So I think that Chris Drury has to be more like that. And again, I think somebody is waiting, and I think we have our team for who is waiting. And it's pretty crazy that it could be the Detroit Red Wings. This is from Vince Mercogliano. A couple people I've spoken with have their eye on Detroit, but it would take some roster maneuvering for it to work. The Wings are only sitting on around $2.4 million in cap space per Puckpedia, working to try and find out more. So he's actively trying to figure out what's going here. Again, this is breaking news. This all just happened as soon as I saw this, and I'm recording this video basically. So this all just came out just now. And obviously $2.4 million they have in cap space. They're going to have to free up almost $6 million more to fit Jacob Trouba. And I think this is huge for the New York Rangers. But let's touch on Detroit quickly first. Detroit is a team that wanted to trade for Jacob Trouba. They wanted his services this past summer. Larry Brooks wrote an article about it. The next day, Jacob Trouba had to submit his no trade list. He did so with Detroit being on it. So obviously the New York Rangers could not trade him to Detroit. So that kind of fell through. Jacob Trouba returned to the New York Rangers this season, but he has not looked like his heart is in it this year. He looks like he knows that the writing is on the wall. The team has not been playing great, and he knows that he won't be a Ranger after this year. So that's a bad mix to have in your dressing room right now, in your locker room. So I believe that they're looking to move off this player, and I do believe that he's played his last game as a New York Ranger. And Detroit, again, are probably a team like the San Jose Sharks with Barclay Goodrow waiting for this player to fall through the waiver wire. They're going to pick him up. They're probably going to make some roster moves today. We're going to keep a close eye on Detroit and see what they're doing today. But I believe that Jacob, he's not playing tonight, so I don't think he's ever going to play for the Rangers ever again. So there's either a trade in place, which I don't believe is the case, because They probably would have traded this player already if they could have traded him to a team that's not on that list. But I believe they want to trade him to a team that's on that list, whether it be Detroit or Ottawa. Maybe not trade him, sorry. I'll backtrack that. Maybe waive him, and one of those teams is waiting for him because they cannot trade for him. So I think this is very interesting. Again, I don't think he's going to Hartford. I don't think he would report anyway, and they could terminate his contract. So very interesting stuff here. And on the New York Rangers side of things, we'll get to the captains in a minute, but on the New York Rangers side of things, if you get rid of Jacob Trouba's contract here, and again, he hasn't been great so far this season. There's been an awful locker room dynamic because of everything that happened this summer. So maybe it is time for a fresh start to move on. I feel like we already kind of knew this, and we knew that he was going to be moved off of this summer. So freeing up $8 million of cap space mid-season, and you have a guy who's more than capable of playing in that role, I think, right now in Victor Mancini, and he's only going to get better the more he plays and the more games he gets into. I think you're in a really good spot if you're the New York Rangers right now in terms of being able to add. And I mean, if you want to add somebody with that $8 million, who better then? And I'm going to float it out there because I'm going to have another video on him and other possible trade scenarios because the Rangers look like they want to trade other players as well. But who better to add than a guy like Brady Tkachuk out of Ottawa? That would really, help turn the Rangers around a little bit. And I'll get into it in another video. That's a whole different topic for another video. But on the topic of this, again, I'll just float it out there. But on the topic of everything that's happening today, the most recent Rangers captains, Jacob Trouba's time with the team is seemingly done with 1.5 years left on his deal. Ryan McDonough was traded. Ryan Callahan was traded. Chris Drury was bought out at the end of his career. Now, of course, is the general manager of the team. But very interesting stuff. It seems like no captain. And there's a couple tweets flying around there right now from some insiders as well saying, hey, maybe don't name a captain for a while so they don't end up getting traded. But there is mixed reactions on this. And it's not necessarily from Rangers fans. The reaction I've seen from Rangers fans so far this morning is yes. They're moving off of this player. People are very happy about it because they free up a lot of cap space. He hasn't been great the last, year, 2 years. And I don't think he's helping the team by any stretch, especially this year. He's really not. So, there's reactions on either side. This is from Rachel Dory, She said, traded, okay, waiving your captain is absurd and unacceptable. I tend to disagree. This is a business, after all. They are trying to win a Stanley Cup. They had aspirations of a Stanley Cup coming into this season, and this is a player who is not helping you get there and holding the team back in terms of, obviously, that cap hit. And again, they wanted to move off him last summer, and they couldn't do that. So I will give Chris Drury credit in that way for trying. He saw the writing on the wall. He just couldn't make that trade, but he is doing something about it now because he saw, the writing was on the wall. And did I call it or did I not call it? A couple days ago, I did say, they had 3 days off here. It was going to be a crucial 3 days. Larry Brooks actually said the same thing. And I said it would be almost unacceptable for them to return to the ice on Friday night against the Pittsburgh Penguins without a single move being done. And here we are, the day of the game. Took a little while, but Jacob Trouba's time as a New York Ranger has come to an end, it seems like. And he hasn't had a great season by any stretch. You can see the J Fresh chart here. I mean, his offense this season, and he's not known for offense, is better than his defense. So he has not had a fantastic season. If we take a look at his stats, again, not known for his offense, but in 24 games, he has 6 points. He's logged a lot of minutes as well, but has not had a great season by any stretch of the imagination. It seems like his time in New York has come to an end, and I will keep you updated on the channel if anything else breaks throughout the day, because it looks like, I believe it's not a trade. I do believe that he will be going on waivers, and there is a team, whether it be Ottawa, because they've been linked to Ottawa the last couple of days, or Detroit, that is waiting for this player to fall through so they can claim him. So it's going to be a very interesting day around the NHL, and I'll keep you updated for everything here. But let me know in the comments what you think. Jacob Trouba, his time in New York has officially come to an end, and I think it's a new era in this way for the Rangers because they can use that cap space to do something else, to retool on the fly, and they have other assets they can trade, like maybe a Ryan Lindgren. We'll have other videos on that, but let me know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.